We did do a tandem ride together, though.
It was our first date.
That was one of our first dates, yep. Yeah, he's in his full-out spandex outfit, and I'm behind, and we're going by, like, some kind of farm, or hogs or something, and it smelled.
99, it was a hog farm.
And it was muggy. I'm going, what am I doing? And look, all these years later, I mean, there was something that I was just taken by the moment, I guess.
So how did you first meet him?
We've known each other forever. Our families knew each other.
Yeah, yeah. My grandfather held Tyler when he was 6 months old and said, well, aren't you a nice, handsome little guy?
No way.
And here we all are all these years later. And it was not an arranged marriage. So it was authentic, but no.
So you guys were in preschool and everything together?
No, not preschool.
We went to, you were in Burlington for a little bit.
Yeah,
and then you were in West
I went to West
Burlington.
Burlington.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same church growing up.
Yeah,
so
that's a big
we kind of
thing.
knew each other that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was church. It was mainly church families knew each other, and of course my family did business with the Bickles, and so I would come over here and
She'd steal our donuts.
yes, donuts and cookies. Leroy's donuts and cookies in back. I eyed those first, and then I went looking for Tyler because I always knew he had Hot Wheels. You had like all the cool stuff, Ninja Turtle, booby traps and everything. We would climb up into the rafters, or
I would make little traps with string where somebody pulled an air tube box out of a G.I. Joe action figure, would swing down and grab them.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Community Spotlight, where I interview local businesses that I know and trust and introduce them to you. Today I'm excited to let you guys know that we're at Bickle Cycling and Fitness. I'm here with Melinda and Tyler Bickle, and we're going to hear a little bit more about their story and what they have for offer to you guys at their store here. So thank you guys so much for coming on. Super excited to hear more about you guys. And
thanks
what you
for
guys
being
do
here. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, glad to. So just kind of jumping in, obviously I've heard a little bit here and there with conversations here, just a little bit about how it got started, but just kind of dialing way back, when and how did Bickle Cycling and Fitness get started? What's the story there?
Ooh, so there's a little bit of a history to that. My dad got out of the Army and he moved to Burlington. He was a diesel mechanic and he worked for Seagulls for a little bit, and then he started his own service station. Well, in the 70s, actually before he bought the service station, he bought George's, the lawnmower repair shop. And so the gas in the 70s was getting really high, so he bought George's in 65, and then the service station in there. 72, he sold the service station and started Bickle Cycling and Chainsaw.
Oh, really?
And so he had kept George's, and then the bikes got big enough that he sold George's, the lawnmower repair, off. And for a long time, they were neighbors here, and they just changed owners again and moved. So it was Bickle Cycling and Chainsaw till mid-90s when he sold the saw business off.
And we weren't unique. There were other bike shops that had those kind of unique, arrangements.
Yeah, my dad's good friend was Harper's up in Muscatine. They used to joke they were the two biggest Schwinn dealers in Iowa.
Okay.
And they'd pause and be like, oh, Old Red and the Tum was bigger than both of us.
And when they meant big,
They weren't talking store size.
they were, when you're working and you're making sure everybody else is taken care of, you tend to not get to enjoy it maybe as much. And so you just, that sedentary, just kind of add it on. So there you go. But let me tell you, once Leroy, your dad went into retirement, oh my gosh, he was riding all the time. And well, he was no longer the biggest Schwinn dealer, so.
Yep.
So what first got him into cycling to make him want to start a shop?
My dad was a prolific reader, and so he would just read and read and read, and I think it was Benjamin Franklin had some process where he would write down so on over a moon cycle and go through, and I don't remember the whole thing, but he had a whole list of things that he wanted to do, and then the next cycle you just kind of swatch things off as he went through. And it came down to a couple things, and bicycling was the one that won.
Really?
Yeah.
How cool. Was there stories that you have heard over the years in those early days that kind of alluded to the transition between just enjoying cycling and starting that business?
No, I think he enjoyed bikes. It was a simple machine to work on, and he just thought it would be something that would fit within his skill set. As time went on, I think he started to like biking a lot more.
Yeah.
So
There's a service aspect of it. He just liked doing things with
likes
his
working with
hand.
people.
You know, like working,
Yeah.
I think that's just inherent in him, taking care of people.
We'd be on family vacation somewhere, and there'd be somebody on the side of the road that needed help, and no matter what, we would stop and he would help them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So obviously, growing up here in the store, are there any certain stories that come to mind that you can think fondly back to?
How much time do we
Yeah,
have?
that's. So I've worked here almost my whole life. There's a period I call my 2-year vacation where I worked at Trek in Wisconsin.
One of our main suppliers, we actually worked at corporate, which was just outside of Madison, Wisconsin.
wow.
So we got to see, the corporate side, the business, and also the manufacturing side of the operation. So it was cool to get to know your supplier on that angle.
awesome.
So yeah, but
Yeah, I have really hard time zeroing out any one story.
Yeah,
There's
no
been a
problem.
lot of people and a lot of really neat scenarios.
Yeah.
We get people riding cross country that stop through. We've been part of people going and doing races, and just some really neat customers that come in and out.
Yeah.
and the families, we just have generations. We've been around a long time, almost 60 years now, and so we just have really enjoyed getting to watch the community grow up. And then, I remember my parents getting a bicycle here, and now I'm getting a bicycle for my kids here. So there's a lot of special history with that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So again, it's probably going to be hard to dial in one story, but can you think of just a really heartfelt moment that meant a lot to you, with specific regard to a certain customer or family that you guys kind of remember doing business with?
I've got one customer, and he is by far the nicest person I've ever met. And for several years there, he would just pick somebody and do them a nice thing. And he got wind of a family in a town not even close to where he lived. The daughter had a disease where she wasn't going to have any more muscle mass. So as a kid, she couldn't really ride a bike, and she couldn't really do much of anything else. Well, he came in and bought her a $3,500 electric assist bike.
Wow.
And that allowed her to ride like a kid and actually go out and have fun and do all kinds of things, because at some point she was going to be in a wheelchair. And the last I heard, she was still able to ride that bike, and that was about 4 years past the point that she was supposed to be in a wheelchair.
Wow.
Yeah.
How neat is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like tearing up.
Yeah, no, that's
No.
incredible.
We have some really heartfelt, stories, people coming in here. A bicycle, I had done a presentation a couple of years ago for Des Moines County Historical Society. They had an annual fundraiser, and we're talking about going back to the 1885, kind of the modern day bike that you see, the equal wheels. That was kind of brought to the market at that time, and it really during that era, the late 1800s, early 1900s. It was a form of transportation, and it was something that both the affluent and those who didn't have very much, they both could participate, and it really became a force to allowing people the freedom of moving about. And I think that's what's so fascinating all these years later, the relevancy. You talk about the evolution of technology and how fast, and yet the bicycle still very much has its place in this conversation. And with that, how it can be used in people's stories and families. One, I remember a boy had touched a live wire. There was a storm and fallen, and anyway, his mobility was greatly limited. And I just was so touched to see how Tyler, Chris, and Mike, the guys, were able to outfit this bicycle so he could control, even though he had the limited, accessibility on one side of his body. And I think that's what's so special about a specialty shop that we are, and that's our focus, is that we're not trying to be masters in all things. This is our focus, and in this day and age, you can buy anything anywhere, but to have that service and that support, that's what really makes it special. So we deal with people who have lots of money to spend on the sport, the hobby, having fun. They'll have multiple bicycles, do lots of rides. And then we have those that they've lost everything, and this is the only form of transportation, and they only have 5 cents to their name, you know, and we try to accommodate everybody.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Is there anything that you guys would hope that customers would kind of have in mind when they come to the shop, maybe for the first time? With regard to really anything that comes to mind.
We see ourselves as guides. So if you come in and kind of have an idea of what you want to do on a bicycle, we're going to ask some questions. And there's a lot of different types of bicycles. And we carry carry most of them, but not all of them. We can get all of them, but we'll help steer you into a bike that's going to probably best fit your needs.
Yes. Well played. I like that. We can get this party started.
No, that's great. Yeah, so because I've been wanting to come in here for years, and I'm sorry to say this is my first time here, and it's so awesome.
Welcome.
And I honestly, I knew you guys sold Trek, but I didn't know just the sheer number of bikes and options and styles you guys have. So we're definitely going to be back with the family to
I love it.
to get into some bikes.
Yeah. Trek's the largest brand in the United States, and the categories that they cover is crazy. So we can't carry them all. They don't all fit our market.
Yeah.
We don't need to stock a complete downhill bike.
Yeah.
For example.
We're not quite in, I mean, we have river bluffs, but we're not like in the mountains, you know?
But when you're talking a family, like you get a kid's bike, like what's behind you there, and our bikes will make it through multiple kiddos. Mm-hmm. They have a trade-in value, and we've got a trade-in, trade-up program.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because so you guys obviously sell all the bikes, but you fix them, repair them in the back. Mm-hmm. You guys have a whole shop back there for that.
Yep.
We do.
So if people kind of have issues with their bikes, they can bring them in. You guys can make them work great again.
And for customers doing like long distance riding on a road bike, any bike really, but mainly road bikes, we do fittings where we'll spend an hour and a half to 2.5 hours with them, tailoring that bike so they can be comfortable for something like RAGBRAI or a longer ride.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there any certain offering or certain thing that you guys are kind of these days trying to tell people about that you'd like to take the opportunity and share?
Well, big thing is that, you know, a bicycle is like a pair of shoes. You know, it really comes down to the fit and the type of riding you're going to be doing, the type of activity. And so that's where, you know, when you're looking for something in the marketplace, we really have a real in-depth option, you know, offering to look at. And as Tyler said, you know, we help guide that. Probably the biggest thing that's taking off now would be our electric bikes. You know, and Tyler can kind of speak to that. We do have a good story with that one actually, that Tyler can share regarding his dad. But that's just really opening up a whole new level of or window of opportunity for people riding. Again, as Tyler mentioned earlier, with this younger person, but we have people a lot older who thought, those biking days are behind, and I don't want to work so hard. Boy, it's like, you know, you're still biking, but somebody's putting that hand behind your back and giving you a gentle push. And wow, I'm doing it again, and this is fun. So but you can kind of speak to that.
So when you're looking at e-bikes, there's classes, and we've got videos out that we've put out that we talk about that. But again, if anybody comes in, we can explain it. But the most of what we sell is a class 1, and then we get into some others. But the main difference is throttle, no throttle. Most of what we carry is torque assist. So we'll get to my dad. He had a massive heart attack, and to the point that they wouldn't help him out here. They sent him to the Quad Cities. The Quad Cities wouldn't help him there. He ended up in, is it Loyola? Loyola University in Chicago. And they literally took his heart out of his chest, spliced in a pig valve, did a quadruple bypass, and put everything back in and added a pacemaker.
Yeah, it was like, what, a 13-hour surgery? It was a long...
It was like 11 and a half, 12 hours.
Yeah.
But the kicker was my dad had his heart attack a month before he went into the hospital. Because of his cycling, his heart had built all these capillaries around it, and that valve quit working, and it had a bypass.
Oh my goodness.
So he walked around for a month swearing he had pneumonia, and he's that traditional generation, stubborn as hell, and wouldn't go to the hospital. Finally, my mom made him go, and
Lo and behold,
you
need surgery, you need to get
so
better.
After that, he couldn't go very far, and he's like me. He likes to go out and do 30, 40-mile ride.
Sure.
3 miles wasn't cutting it. He was defeated. I had to trick him to try an e-bike.
So there's a physical healing after something, a traumatic, surgery or injury, but there's the emotional.
Yeah.
And that's what we were really worried about, and we could see it. He was just checking out. And what do you do to get that person, as Tyler said, doing those Wednesday night dinner rides up to 40 miles or doing rag brag? That's a big thing, riding across the state of Iowa. And he was the co-founder of our bike club, Bike Burlington, our local bike club.
Wow.
And so, yeah, he's just defeated. So you got him to try that e-bike.
Yep, I was supposed to give him a lift home, and I couldn't. My mom calls me an hour later, and I tell her, I let him borrow a bike, and I had to hold the phone away from my ear.
She was not too happy.
She was
You
yelling
did
at me.
what? You let your father,
And I'm
he
like-
just had a heart attack, a heart surgery.
Like,
you
Mom, it was an e-bike. He's probably okay. Give him another hour.
We'll learn
If
soon.
he's not back in an hour, I'll go look for him. So, about 45 minutes later, I get a phone call from my dad. He had done 36 miles.
Oh my goodness.
And he went north of town, and he went up all those hills multiple times. And the last time he was heading home, he saw a group of cyclists, and he's like, I'm going to catch them. And he kicked it up. And he was on a class 3, so the governor's at 28 mile an hour. He makes it, and he passes them on the hill going to Beaverdale. And it was the racer group training.
These guys are like 25, 30 years his junior.
And he gets up to him, he's like, hey guys. And
They're sweating.
And they look over, and he's, what's going on? So they're trying to go. It was good hearing the story from both sides.
Kidding. Oh, that's amazing.
And as a result, he got
Another 8 years that he was able to ride.
riding his bike. Yeah.
How beautiful.
Yeah, and those are
Wow.
the stories. Those are the stories. They're cheating. No, it's getting people back out there riding when they thought their
Totally.
days were behind them.
Yeah, that's
so,
amazing. Wow, thanks
yeah.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting people to know you guys just a little bit more. What was your favorite childhood TV show?
Well, animated. I was My Little Pony,
Okay.
the Care Bears. I think there was Rainbow Bright. Going back to those days, and then we still have black and white television. I kid you not.
Yeah.
So I remember Lassie. I remember Dennis the Menace. I mean Nickelodeon,
100%.
Nickelodeon at night. I mean it's crazy. I also it was a big deal when Disney would partner up with like ABC or NBC, and they would do their featured movie night, and it
Sure.
would come on. I mean, yeah. So that
times.
was my childhood. Those are good times. Oh, and Double Dare, watching. And I know I could have done the Bozo show. I just needed to get there. But those 6 containers, I could have gotten that $100. I
don't doubt
could have
it.
gotten it. So
That's awesome.
yeah, there you go. And you got to actually go and see like the slime. I mean, didn't you go
Yeah,
down
we
to
went.
Orlando?
When I was younger,
Yeah.
we went to Universal, and there's a catwalk over the set of Clarissa Explains It All,
Okay.
and you could kind of look in and see all that.
That's awesome.
yeah, we were like-
your favorite TV show was.
Oh, I was a Ninja Turtles fan.
Oh, yeah.
There you
Yep.
Come
go.
on.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. Wow. Well,
Good
this is
days.
incredible. Is there anything I didn't ask you guys about, or anything you didn't tell me about that you were kind of hoping to share or mention at all?
We don't just do bicycles, so we do fitness equipment as well. So
Yeah.
both for residential and commercial.
Okay.
But treadmills, strength equipment, and any kind of cardio really.
Yeah. And
So-
I noticed some discs over there
we do
too.
Frisbee golf discs.
Yeah.
We've got a little bit of skateboard stuff. We
Yeah.
carry one wheel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We
just
try
kinda-
to promote, health and fitness all year long, all the different seasons. So it's nice to have the fitness. We dedicated a whole new addition to the building because when it's icy and snowy and cold outside, you don't really want to necessarily ride your bicycle. We do have opportunities and items that you can ride your bike indoors and interactive programs, which are really cool, which you use when you're, keeping in shape and, getting ready for the next season. But yeah, treadmills and ellipticals. And then now just for residential, we do a lot of commercial business. So we work with hospitals and schools, local gyms and Ys with that equipment. And we have a dedicated service team that goes out and services those. So that's the other aspect of the business. So this time of year, of course, we're kind of all things bikes, but this will soon be switching over to the other side.
And in that in-between year, we've started carrying hunting bikes.
Oh, really?
So we carry, it's a brand called Rambo, and they're based out of Centerville, Iowa.
Oh, no way.
So and it's just an overbuilt, big 4-inch wide fat tire bike, and it's designed to, if you're wanting to go out and watch birds, it'll do that. But if you want to go out to a stand, it'll do everything you need it to do there.
That's awesome.
And the other thing too is that we have just the most amazing team. We're one extended large family here, and we've got a lot of veteran people on our team and mechanics, and they're just wonderful. We want to treat people. We treat people the way we want to be treated, and it's really exciting now that we have our son Edward. He's now been wrenching and helping out with customers, and
I saw that. That's awesome.
we love it. And then both kids, they help record radio ads with me, and their royalties are paid in ice cream, and clean laundry, and food, So I think that's pretty a fair trade.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's clear that the community loves what you guys are doing, and for years and years now, obviously, you guys have been warmly embraced. So thank you so much for everything you do, for the offering that you bring to this community with all of this. This is so cool.
Oh.
So,
we're most grateful to all the support, and oh my gosh, from a community standpoint, the cities, municipalities have really embraced furthering trail systems around here and multi-purpose paths. So around the schools and to the parks and by the hospital and all, it's really exciting to see that being embraced and giving people a safe and a healthy place to go recreate outdoors. It's wonderful.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time. And this has been another episode of the Community Spotlight. Again, where I interview local businesses that I know and trust and introduce them to you. And until next time, this has been Bickle Cycling and Fitness. And we'll talk to you guys really soon.